Okay, hello and welcome back. It's Peter again, and we're going to do part 2 of the Ghostly Bride character. I'm going to do colored pencil, and I might speed this up because it's bound to take a while. This is my darkest color in colored pencil. Is this? It's called Delphinium. I quite like this color. In fact, I knew exactly where it was in my big stack of colored pencils. And I went right for it. It's like I knew exactly which color I wanted. But the point of this is we're gonna go over it with markers once we get our darks in and get just a general sense of what's going on. She's gonna have blue skin because she's a ghost. And then we're going to go with kind of a peach pink core and then kind of blue at the edges of this whole ghostly form. And then when we get to the markers, we're going to find some transparent colors that will enhance this somehow. And I know I just said I was going to do the core in a different color, but I'm going to use, this is the darkest color out of all of these that I have. This is the darkest one, so I'm going to start out by shading in the darks. Also, I know everyone has a different approach to colored pencils. My approach is to start out with kind of a light hand, because the whole point of this is you're going to layer it. So, and by the way, light's coming in this way, so we're going to favor the left side for the shadows. More shadows on the left than the right. All right, I'm going to speed this up, and then we're going to continue on. Okay, this is a good start. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the background yet. I think it should be nighttime, so we might have to paint in some blacks around her and figure out what we're going to do about these plants in the background. But you can see I haven't gone in hard. I've only gone in kind of like a light hand on the colored pencil. Pink is cool. Pink works. And then I think the grave itself should have the green, maybe even a brighter green. But what I really need now is to figure out what palette of magic marker colors we're going to use to do the rest of this. Like I said, I tried to center the orangey pinks, and I got a fluorescent one here even on her center, and then at the extreme ends I wanted to keep it kind of blue. I actually did put a little bit of color, a little bit of pink up there. There's a little bit of pink over here. As we mix it, both good and bad things happen. I think we're in the good things realm. I noticed when I started to put my almond rose color over the light blue, it started to turn a little bit of green, which is not what I wanted, but I brought it back. And the pinks, if I go over them with blue, will turn kind of a violet color, which I do like. So that makes the violet color is cool because it's an even darker color. Now, I'm not that much of an expert on this, so I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen as I start overlaying the magic markers. I do want to kind of preserve my general palette, but let's go ahead and choose some markers here. I'll throw this plastic sheet under here so we don't ruin the next page. I think among other things, we need a very light green. I guess I can figure out where it is. This one's called Mint Mist. So let's get a little test sheet. That looks good. I think that's close to one of the colors we're going to need. That's Mint Mist. Maybe we need a light blue. Ice blue. These are very light pastel shades. And that's good. And how about a light violet color? This one's called Gray Lavender. That looks pretty good. So these purple and blues will be great for the shadows. And we might end up going in with a dark purple or something for the background. But let's go in with our darkest color, which is this lavender color first. And just to start with, I want to start it out on the background. And I haven't chosen super saturated colors because I want to be layering. Once you get done layering your colors, and you just want to get some kind of pure, like let's say I'm gonna do the background over here, then I could probably pick a really saturated color. And really make it pop. And the other thing to remember about magic markers is each color is really two colors. You have the initial color when you put it on, but watch this when I go over it a second time. I'm going to get a little bit of a darker tone when you double it up. So something to be aware of. Alright, since this is our main shadow color, let's also use it to do some shading. We're going to do some shading on our main figure. To make it pop. She's got go. Let's see the shading inside the grave she's flying up out of. I really like using the chisel tip. These are the Oahu set of markers, so I don't have the nice brush tip. I've got a bullet tip and I've got the chisel tip. Okay, I'm leaving this green here, although it looks a little bit wrong. We're going to be covering that with another layer here in a second. Let's do a little bit under arm. Behind her arm, a little bit on her hair. Okay, looking good. Actually, let's do a little bit more on the sword, or the... It is a sword. Alright, now we're going to go for our blue, which is also somewhat dark, but not as dark as the purple. This is where I kind of wanted to do the edge of the grave. But we're layering, so we're going to go back in over the purple even. And that'll drop it down just one more tone. We could even do a little bit on the background color back here. Alright. Now we can use this for shading a little bit. And actually the blue looks really nice over the orange, which you wouldn't think it would, but it gives it a very nice, subtle shade. Alright, same here. We're going to do a little bit of shading on the arm. And I'm going to go under her neck at this point. Let's do her lips. I want to try and leave the inside of her mouth white. That'll be like a light coming out. And this is already having kind of a cool prismatic effect that I like. I hope I don't ruin it. I really like it so far. Okay. Final color is the green. Now this is the gut test, because I want to go over her skin with it and her face, but I probably want to preserve some of the white. Alright, I think we did okay there. Some of the white here on her chest and skin. And hair. And this is looking really cool. It is making me a little bit worried about how am I going to do that background. Dark purple or black? Not sure yet. We can throw some green on that layered purple and blue, and it makes it even cooler. Gives it a little bit of a cool shade. Alright, this is looking pretty cool. We can bring some white highlights back in with a white Posca pen, or I actually use just a gel pen. But I'm already thinking we may need to just do the background and just let it go at this point. Let her rip. And leave. I'm going to try and leave a little nimbus of light around her. I have a couple of choices for the background. I've got eggplant. That's probably the best color right there. It's kind of a dark purple. There's probably no layering that's going to get done over the eggplant because it's so dark. Let's see if I can leave just a hint of a white outline. Around her sword. And we could throw some washi tape on here to get that nice edge, but since it's just my sketchbook and I don't really feel like doing it, we're not going to do that. Also, if you mess up your edge, you mess up your white edge, you can always get a white gel pen or something, Posca pen or whatever else, and bring it back. Oh, this is a danger, and I noticed this in class. When you're trying to cover like a lot of area, you can get the streakiness, and if it looks too regular, it throws me off. So I try to don't just do straight lines each time. You know, scumble it up a little bit. You know, put a little randomness in there, or throw in another layer of something, and hopefully that breaks up the pattern just enough. So instead of just going, you know, I'm actually throwing different angles in there. So the eye doesn't see that, oh, okay, it's just magic marker. You want to preserve as much of the illusion as you can. You know, that this is paint or this is something, right? It's something else. And sometimes you can't avoid it, and it's like, well, okay, that's part of one of the you know, the pros and cons of the medium is you know, you can't account for everything. There we go. Okay, I can tell I've got it's funny, I hear something on my roof, and I know I have a one-story house, and I know what it is. I think there's a cat up there chasing birds. And I like the birds. I like the cats too, but the birds are fine. Alright, here we go. Okay. Now look for areas that look like they're too regular, and maybe you could throw in a little extra something or other. Maybe we can go back in and add even more shading. Even do a little bit under the chin here. All right, she's looking good. She's looking good. All right, I got a white gel pen. If this works. I'm not 100%. It'll work. It'll work. Put some stars in the background. Actually, it's not looking. It's not looking good for this pen. Where's my other gel pen? Can't be far off. Here it is, right here. There we go. And also bring back some highlights. A little bit extra white. If you vary the intensity of your stars, make some stars a little bit bigger. Make some stars where you blot them out a little bit, make them dimmer. You'll increase the three-dimensionality, in theory, of your star field. Also, it'll break up, you know, if you've got the scumbling streaks, as I do. Alright, now we're going to try and find areas that we want to make pop a little bit more, like this pattern on her dress. Maybe a couple strands of hair. Maybe we'll make the sword glow a little bit. And then only do a couple of these. You could do a twinkling star. Just make a little cross. You don't have to go too far with it. All right, I think we're close to the end on this one. Coloring went really quickly. And this is mostly layering and not a whole lot of blending, but you could blend it a little bit. I'm throwing in a little bit more purple. Maybe darken up where I think the shadows are going to be. And there she is. I want a little bit more brighter stars over here. Some of my stars have faded. All right, looking good. Okay, that's it for right now. Please like, follow, and subscribe. We will have more of this. Now that I've kind of figured out how to do this, I want to do more of these pieces like this. I think they're really cool. Thanks so much for watching. There's the old signature-oo.